back after the break. I promised you a great guest. Today I'm going to be speaking with Jose Perez Riera. He's Puerto Rico's Secretary of Economic Development and Commerce. Jose, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having us.
Well, I know you guys had a historic visit there from President Obama. What are you guys chatting about?
Well, look, we had a first sitting president come visit Puerto Rico in the last 50 years. That means quite a bit to Puerto Ricans. We are and have been American, for many years now. We are part of the United States, so to have a sitting president come visit part of the United States is something quite substantial for us. It also gives us an opportunity to underscore a series of different developments and public policies that we have in common with the rest of the United States, including renewable energy. In Puerto Rico, we have established an energy reform, which establishes a renewable portfolio standard so that rather than less than 1% of our energy coming from renewable resources, which is what we have now, by the year 2020, we will be producing 15% of our energy from renewable resources. Besides that, we've implemented a green energy fund of $290 million over the next 10 years in order to provide incentives so that the private sector can go ahead and establish these types of renewable energy resources in their own houses, commerces, or light industrial type of use. But the biggest shift is in making a transition and converting the plants that produce energy in Puerto Rico from petroleum, which is 70% of the energy that's produced in Puerto Rico, to natural gas. That's something that we announced about a year and a half ago, and we're working on it. It's important because it'll lower the cost of energy. It's cleaner energy than what we produce right now from petroleum, and it's a lot more stable. And as part of the visit from the president, he also mentioned that that's now public policy as far as the entire United States. So we're very happy to be completely focused and lined up with what's being done in the rest of the nation.
When you're saying renewable resources, what are you talking about specifically?
Well, we're talking about the windmills. We're talking about photovoltaic panels on your roofs. We're talking about any type of energy that comes from resources that can be renewed. In Puerto Rico, we also include waste to energy as part of the types of industries that can comply with the renewable portfolio standard, because as an island we need to make sure that the trash that we produce can be used in a way that's effective so that we can also reduce the situations that we have in the landfills. This is one of a series of different reforms that the governor of Puerto Rico has been implementing over the last 2.5 years. We've also implemented a tax reform that has brought down taxes on a corporate level from a maximum of 41% to a maximum of 30%. And by the year 2014, that will be reduced even more to 25%. We're giving back $1.2 billion every year to the people of Puerto Rico as a result of this tax reform, which is the largest tax reform in the history of Puerto Rico. The tax burden on individuals will be reduced on a 50% on average over the next 6 years. And this is going to create a lot of business. It's going to create jobs. It's going to spur the economy, and it's going to allow for those that want to take a risk and bet on themselves and running as far as the economy is concerned in Puerto Rico towards exporting and different types of things that they may not be able to do now.
You said this is going to, is this currently creating also economic development, or is this future economic development?
It's both. The tax reform is already in place. It was approved at the beginning of this year, and at the end of last year, the first stage of the tax reform was approved. So we're already seeing economic development as a result of the tax reform, but the implementation phase over the next 6 years, which will reduce the tax burden on individuals, will increase every year that we move forward, so that the amount of money that's given back to the people of Puerto Rico will continue to increase. On a corporate level, it's already set, and it's at 30% maximum as opposed to 41%, which is where it was at. It'll be at 25% by the year 2014. Now, the governor has also implemented other types of reforms, like a private-public partnership reform that has resulted, in fact, in a partnership with Goldman Sachs and a Spanish company that have now invested $1.4 billion in a public road in Puerto Rico in order to make it better, in order to maintain it and make sure that it can serve better the people of Puerto Rico. This is the largest P3 that we've seen in the United States this year. It's one of the largest infrastructure investments in the United States since 2006, and it's certainly one of the largest infrastructure investments in the history of Puerto Rico.
I know you're the Secretary of Economic Development and Commerce, but could you speak a little bit, how is tourism going for you at this time? Because I know that has to play a great role in your country moving forward.
Well, the tourism company of Puerto Rico is a public corporation that falls within my department. Tourism is an area that we are implementing a series of different reforms on in order to bring more hotels, to spur more development, and to make a transition into a different type of tourism that will maintain what we have, but will also enter into the luxury market, which Puerto Rico has been known for to a certain extent, but we need to implement many more hotels in this area. Over the last 2.5 years, we've seen 3 hotels that have been created in this area. There's the W at Vieques, which is an island off the eastern coast of Puerto Rico. There's the Sheraton at the Convention Center district in Puerto Rico, and the Ritz Reserve is now under construction. The Ritz Reserve will be the first, 6-star hotel in the Western Hemisphere. Clearly, we're seeing that there's quite a bit of enthusiasm about what Puerto Rico has to offer in the tourism sector, in particular because the government provides for incentives so that in this downtime that hasn't really allowed for much construction and new offers to come in line, Puerto Rico has been busy making sure that when the economy starts running again, we have what we need to provide a new offer. And that's exactly what we're seeing. And as a result, we've seen an increase in the occupancy rate. We've seen an increase in the average daily rates. And we've seen quite a bit of activity as far as the air and maritime access to Puerto Rico. We've seen an increase in 250 weekly flights to Puerto Rico over the last 2 years. JetBlue has now become the largest air carrier in Puerto Rico with a growth of about 60% in their activity from December of this past year to June of this year. We've also seen an increase that puts us at the best position that we've been in 5 years in the home port industry as far as cruise ships go. So we're seeing quite a bit of activity in the tourism sector, and we're seeing growth, and we expect that to be a growth sector as we move forward.
Well, I'd like to say, Mr. Secretary of Economic Development and Commerce, you are such a great representative for your country. You're just doing a great job.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Well, thank you so very much for helping us to have a broader view of Puerto Rico. Is there a website that my listening audience can go to?
Absolutely. You can go to www.puertoricodoesitbetter.com. You'll be able to get quite a bit of information regarding everything that we're doing on tourism, as well as different types of incentives that we have for different sectors of the economy. We have incentives on the film industry. We have incentives for the insurance industry. Basically, we've decided that as a matter of policy, we need to provide aggressive incentives to bring business in all the different areas where Puerto Rico can compete, and we're doing exactly that.
Well, Mr. Jose Perez Riera, Puerto Rico Secretary of Economic Development and Commerce, thank you so very much for coming on the Valder Beebe Show. I truly appreciate your presence.
Well, thank you very much. Take care.
Have a great day.